Let's start from the top. Where we are, current account deficit at almost 3% of our GDP, about 3% of $510 billion. That's quite some pile of money.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it's a bit worrisome, but I don't think it's surprising because we've not had productivity. If you look at our main export product, which is oil, we've not been selling oil. In fact, if you follow the reports in the social media, you find that we're selling our oil at discount. So we have it's all out there in the seas and so on, and it's alarming in the sense that even those who are traditional takers of Nigerian oil, are now it's going to be tough, for us to get them to buy. And so these are challenges which I think that this country has to face. We've been facing this, but I think it's getting worse with the current situation.
Our inflows are getting slimmer, the outflows are getting wider.
Yes.
And this is something that you economists are always concerned about all the time.
Yes, because essentially, I mean, you're looking for balance, you provide a balanced position, or at least you want a net position, positive position, in a balanced account. But if you don't have it, and what happens when that is the case? It means that you are overly, as has been the case in this country, overly exposed to the external sector, and that has been the challenge. So you find that besides oil, we don't have any export product that is worth its name that you can mention that we export. The Americans, when the president went to America, we had this. Is it AGOA, the Americans Growth and Opportunities Act, which during the time of President Bill Clinton, they put it in place to try and help medium income countries, to be able to export their products to America. And to a large extent, we're not able to capitalize on that because we didn't meet, the quality requirements, the specifications in terms of quality. We didn't meet that, and so we did not even the allowance we had in that respect. We were not able to score on that, and so it's challenging. And this is why we need to begin to manage our house better. I did a position paper in which I looked at this. I said beyond the bailout, this bailout. After this bailout, it's like. This bill is like an emergency measure.
Okay, you said we should manage our situation better. Yes. So we're now at a very critical time of management. So talk to us about this recurring issue, and doesn't look like it's going away anytime soon, the size of the state government's debts.
Yeah. Well, I think that is alarming when you look at, just reported that Abia State is asking for 30 billion. So you ask yourself, what is this borrowing? What is it going to be used for? And sometimes you're even concerned in the sense that even the lenders themselves, if you do due process and you want to lend to somebody, you have a responsibility professionally to ensure that you are not just throwing money at problems. You're going to lend money and you're going to be asking the person that's going to borrow this money, how are you going to pay back? That should be of primary concern. And so you are doling out monies, and it seems to me, because that's why the states got into this problem. Of course, there was this assumption that the federation account was still going to be robust. And then the people threw caution to the winds, and they went borrowing, and they started embarking on outlandish and grandiose projects, white elephant projects. So you have a massive stadium, you put it in your state, and then how many people are going to use it? Then the governor has a private jet, he uses and so on, the cost of maintenance. And so you find such areas of expenditure that doesn't seem to indicate.
There are some part of this. Let's break it down very quickly within this time space for us. Let's start from here as we continue to unfold it. Part of these commercial bank loans, we don't know the total portfolio, but what we've got from media reports was that, for example, Benue State has about 11 billion naira commercial bank loans that has to be restructured, securitized, and put in the federal government a long-term bond. Do you think that is the way restructuring the state government bank loans into FGN bonds should go?
Well, I think that that's one of the palliatives. I think that if you're talking of bailing out the states, it's one of the things you have to do, because what has caused the crisis in the first place is that they borrowed to the hilt, and they borrowed, and then being able to service. Some of them are, first charged on their allocation, and so you borrow, you sign the paper that this was going to be, deducted as your revenue comes, and this is what is happening. So you go to Osun State, and you find that you've gone into all these projects, and you're not paying salaries to your workers for 8 months, for 9 months. And even when you now had this if you like, this relief coming, courtesy of the president, it comes to you and you're still saying you can't even pay, paying half month salary, you're paying just 1 month, and so I think that we need to be very careful with managing.
But do you agree, sorry to cut in, that do you agree that this state government commercial loans should be piled on to the table of the federal government as bonds?
Well, I don't know what you're going to do, because what you're trying to do is find a way how you can warehouse it. So how do you warehouse it? The other thing is to maybe see if you can go and refinance. But then how do you refinance? That means, I would expect that the debt management office would also be involved in this.
Yeah, so the DMO would have to be involved. When it comes to FGN bond,
yes.
Is
yes.
Dr. Abraham Nwankwo's call, yes. As it were. So, but meanwhile, do you think the central bank should give more loans to the state government? 300 billion is what has been mentioned by the president. So, well,
I would expect that central bank, if central bank is going to do that, central bank will also insist that this money is not a gift. So it's not going to be a gift. So I would expect central bank would be demanding to know how this money is going to be and when the repayment is going to kick in, start kicking in. Of course, we would expect that it's like a soft loan because of the circumstances. But my concern is that really beyond this, there must be a need for us, to make sure that there's better accountability, there's better management of resources, there's better prudence, amongst the subnational government levels. At the federal level, yes, we are trying, but I think that I also see some gaps in the sense that even the things we put in place in terms of implementation, sometimes we have issues with having these things staying focused, having them implemented. But if you take the Fiscal Responsibility Act, we have a commission, Fiscal Responsibility Commission, and this act only operates at the federal level, where it tells you must have your budget and how to go about your budget. You must have a policy, you must have a medium-term strategy, and so on, a policy framework, to make sure that things are done in an organized manner. Well, that's not happening in the States. So I took a position that I think that's part of what the president should have done in handing out this money, is that the states should be compelled to sign on.
On the fiscal responsibility.
The act, yes, it's important. They should sign on. They do their budgeting. They do a 3-year rolling plan. They do a budget that will drive the rolling plan, and they make sure the budget is implemented. What tends to happen is that at the subnational level, the national assemblies are beholden to the governor. We heard that the money is to them, comes to the governor. They don't have independent source of revenue. And so somebody that feeds you, how are you going to begin to check? How are you going to check him? So I think those are some of the things that we have to get back, look and see if there's any way this could be managed.
So you think the President Buhari, should demand
yes.
strict conditions for this package, if you want to put it that way,
yes,
bailout for the state government?
Yes, I mean, she could take money from IMF and all that. There are conditions. They put conditions because look at the Greek situation, which were, EU, they just manage, It's something. You don't just throw money. You don't give money and then ask the person to, all right, accept it's a grant. It's not a grant and you're expecting the person to pay back. I think it's also in everybody's interest that some conditions are attached. And for me, I think one of the conditions is that the states will have to imbibe more discipline. And that, I don't know. I think it's like almost a lost battle. How do you get the national state assemblies begin to check the governors? Because you see, you have a relationship that it's not on the same platform like you have with, say, at the federal level. So I hope I'm correct here. So if that is the situation, how are you going to be checking the person that will tell you, okay, I'll blackmail you. If you harass me, I'm not going to give you money. And so the state government comes and says, I want to borrow 30 billion. You should be asking, what is he going to do with this money? Where is this money going to spend? He's going to spend it in some viable project. And so on and so forth. You start building institutions, multiplying institutions, you start want to build airports and so on and so forth, which are, for me, they are investments we shouldn't go into.